yes, to this screen, and I will go through different Terraform 0.14 features, and then we can continue talking with everyone on the same link. So actually, I can share this link. Can I share this link? Yes, I will share this link to YouTube, and if you watch this on YouTube, feel free to join this link Zoom, and we'll continue talking about these things after this stream. Okay, so I will mute myself here and I will continue. This is it. Right, okay, good. So what we have right now is Terraform. As you understand, Terraform is the main thing which, at least for me, like pays the bill, so I want to talk about it even more. So what kind of things were mentioned? Some of these things were new, some of these things were not very new, but anyway, I want to go through all of them and explain this one by one. So talking about Terraform, well, it's probably a good idea to look into browser as well. Sorry, where is it? Here is it. No, not here. This is it. So yesterday there was a release of Terraform 0.14 beta 1. Some people say like, hey, this is already 0.14, and yes, time flies and new versions are being released faster than never. And here you can see some release notes by Petros and Michael, what they have put here. Pretty much all of these things which they covered here, I will show in action. Specifically, sensitive input variables and concise diff, as well as provider dependency lock. And if you are into ARM release for Linux, ARM 64, sorry, then you can get Terraform running on your Raspberry Pi. I'm not into hardware, so I'm not really gonna to manage my Philips Light, if I will have any, with Terraform. There are a few other things which you can do with Terraform than managing Raspberry Pi. So talking about Terraform 0.14, it is public, it is in beta. Of course, I think it's everyone's duty and like responsibility to remind you that please don't use this in production. If something goes bad, it's your problem. Well, where else can we use it if not in production? So here we are. I'm gonna to show you some code here. I'm gonna to clear something to just not frighten everyone immediately. And let's look into some features first of all. So there were a few features related to Terraform mentioned in the blog. Let me show them in action, what it means. First of all, I specify that I want to use Terraform more than 12.6, and I already have installed using tf and install 0.14 beta 1, so I'm using that version right now. Okay, so what is interesting here? Let me just go through a list of different things. So the first one here is actually a file Terraform lock.hcl. So this file is maintained automatically by Terraform init. Do not edit this file and so on. While you may actually edit it, but there is not much sense. The point of this file is the same as package lock in Node.js or what else, pip env lock or any other lock file in any other programming language. The point is that you can lock versions of provider to specific hashes to make sure that your code is actually requiring certain version of providers. And that's the whole idea of this file. You can commit this file into your version control system as well, then people who will be having this file, they will just run Terraform init, and they will use only the specified version as it is given here. You can also write something like Terraform init upgrade, and then it will upgrade this log file as well. So pretty much the same behavior as with any other programming languages and package management system we have already. Not much to say about it. The second thing is Terraform FMT. So Terraform FMT, as you know, formats code, and it does it by reading this code and rewriting some lines. So if I add, let's say, some wrong number of spaces around, it will just format it to one view, and that's it. Here is where it is started to be interested. So as you can see, list, it just lists, not list of numbers, list of strings, just list. Previously, if you run Terraform FMT, it would just fix spaces around. But now Terraform FMT, if I run it, then it says that it's updating it, because what it did, it just actually added any, list of any. So this means that if you have some formatting tool, or if you have formatted some code already using 0.13, now you will have to make sure that this FMT is not actually breaking your tooling. For me, I think it will be quite okay, because I have been writing this inside of bracket all the time, or at least most of the time. Well, so if you write something like list of string and you run FMT, it will not change it, but it will change just words like set, list, maps, and so on. Okay, so now we have properly formatted code. Let's look further. Line 12 says that we want to use a new function, which is all true. All true returns true if all elements of this function, of this list, sorry, is true. So true is true, null equal null. I hear some alarm, some fire alarm, but well, if it's in our house, then somebody will run and fix it. We'll see. Anyway, yeah, my wife just fixed it. That's good. So all true will return true when true is true, when null equal null is true. That's all. So what we have now is that when this expression is true, then create this resource. It should simplify some code when we have complicated expressions or complicated functions and comparison. This is new function which you can use. Sensitive in variables and in outputs. That's where a lot of work has been done, and a lot of things are still remaining to be done. Let me show it in action by just running. Okay, let's do concise diff first. Concise diff is quite easy to see. So what I do here is that I run init already, and now I want to run apply, and it will just execute it, and it will just tell me that, well, it will show me a lot of things which has to be created. So far, not much new, because it says known after apply. Well, it's not really meaningful to me right now, so I would probably prefer to keep this as well at some point, but anyway, that's not the point which this release is trying to solve. So I say that yes, I want to do this. I want to create security group and security group rule, and then I have it created. Now, if I do any changes, so for example, I change port from this one to this one, and I run apply. So now I should be able to see, well, yeah, my placement on this view is not very perfect. Let me move myself. I will be sitting here, and I think it's going to be okay. Okay, now when I type yes, here you can see actually what's changed. So we can see that 6 unchanged attributes hidden. That's exactly what this concise diff means. So concise diff just hide what doesn't make sense to be shown. In most cases it's good, so we don't have to see a lot of things which, well, we don't pay attention to, so that's fine. Though there are some situations when we actually want to see what was the previous value. I mean, even if they have not changed, we still want to see what was the value which we had before. So that's pretty much it about concise diff. As you can see, you can like this view or you can dislike this view, but there is an option for you to disable it if you want. You have to set environment variables tf like this 0. So if I now like this and then Terraform apply, so now it should show me, oh right, it will not show anything because I haven't changed code. But yeah, the point is that you can set this environment variable and disable this new behavior. In general, I think you don't need to disable it, so it's good to save some space here. Okay, now let's look into sensitive. Sensitive is pretty cool. So what sensitive means? Sensitive in variables means that we can specify that this variable allowed seeder blocks is going to be sensitive. And if we are using it inside of these seeder blocks, like here now, then we don't want to show it to user. Since I have already created this one, I can just remove or change value. So let's say from 10, I change to 20. And I run this code now. So I run Terraform apply, and I expect to see this change right now, so that from 10 to 20. And as I can see, it just says that seeder block sensitive. And I don't see which value was there. Because imagine that this IP range or some user password or any other things which you don't want to show is now sensitive. So you think like, okay, let's apply this change because that's what I want. It's sensitive, it's hidden, no one can see it, and that's pretty much true. Well, you can think, okay, I still want to do output of it. And you write something like var inside of output block. This will also not work. So if I run this code now, and what I want to see is that I want to see this sensitive variable visible. But in fact, it just failed and says that refers to sensitive values, not allowed. So, well, sorry, but you cannot. And as you can see, it's actually checking that this value is used inside of different functions as an argument. So there is no way to hide this information somehow, and let's say to get MD5 from it or to encrypt it somehow. There is no way. If it is used here, then it's sensitive all over. But there is a solution for that. So let's comment this out because that's not going to work. This is like direct solution. It's not going to work. But you have to be pretty careful with this solution. So that what we use this allowed seeder blocks is that we use it inside of AWS security group rule. So we pass this sensitive variable. We didn't see it inside of output of the plan. We cannot get it printed inside of output, which means that it's not inside of Terraform state as output. So if we look into source code, outputs empty, I mean source code of Terraform TF state, here it says that outputs is empty. Okay, so there is no way for me to see where this is. But what you can always do, and that's pretty important to know, is that I think from Terraform 0.12, you can actually output the whole object. So which means AWS security group rule all is containing information about this seeder block. And imagine that seeder block is sensitive for whatever reason. So here we pass sensitive value into this resource. This resource got persisted inside of Terraform state. So here is it. It's now visible inside of state. Sensitive attribute is marked. So, oh my god, seeder blocks is sensitive. So I should not be able to do that. But nevertheless, if I run Terraform apply and I wait a little bit, then I can see my seeder block, which is now not sensitive anymore. I think this is a bug. Because, well, sensitive for me means that it's so sensitive that no one else on the planet should know 20.00/20 is available. It is also available inside of outputs, so it's not so sensitive anymore. But I'm not saying that this is a bad solution or you don't have to use it. Obviously you have to use it. You just have to make sure that you are not outputting the whole resources. And I think that's actually very seldom when you need to output the whole resource like this. So just be careful when you do this. Most likely you will control what kind of things you're outputting, and when you run Terraform apply and you try to output sensitive, you simply will not be able to do this. So that's pretty much it about sensitive things. And yeah, that's pretty much it about sensitive. Now let me show another interesting feature related to optional object type attributes, which is shown here. So what it means is that we say that we want to use variable which is called object with optionals, and the type of this variable is object with these keys A, B, and we specify different type for specific key. So A should be string and B should be also string. But at some point we want to make this B optional. So we can accept it if it's given, and we don't need it if it was not provided. It's totally okay. And let's see, here is addition from Victor. Victor says it's a first step on the sensitive info in TF plan state. There will be much more. Treat it like experimental feature. Well, yes, you're right. I'm not sure if it is marked as experimental. No, I don't think it's marked as experimental. No, sensitive arguments are not marked as experimental. So it means that they will be in this way. But you're absolutely right that they will be improving this behavior, and in the near future it will be probably not allow you to output values like this one too, but it will never be like, maybe never is bad word. It will not be treated as absolutely sensitive, where you provide some sensitive data and then it's not inside of your Terraform state. So that's not where things are moving right now. So if you are coming to Terraform as a new beginner and you think that suddenly your Terraform state file will contain this information encrypted somewhere, or at least base 64 as this map here, no, it's not. It's not going to be encrypted anywhere. Your Terraform state file will contain these secrets, but at least anymore it's not an experimental feature. It is already enhancement, which is which means that it will stay here. Experiment is another feature which I'm talking about now. This optional attribute is an experimental feature which you need to enable by specifying experiment inside of your Terraform block. So that's really important to specify experiment. It was quite interesting to see the discussion and this pull request, but let me just show how it actually works, or how it behaves. So if I specify this object and then I want to pass value, or if I can use default value, it's okay to pass it like a equals sum and then b equal another string. That's fine. The problem here with this object, and in particular why I am not a big fan and I don't even understand why object should be used in the largest amount of combination, largest amount of situations, is that optional is not the question. What I really want and what I really miss is that I want to be able to specify optional string and also comma separated, for example, or not maybe comma separated here, but comma here, and specify also it can be list of string, and it's okay if it's also even map of map of map of number. Well, if I close correct amount of brackets, yes. So that's what I want. I want it to be optional of separate types. This is very commonly needed. It's not enough that I can specify optional on just this level. Though I didn't try, maybe I can write something like optional of string and then optional of map, and then this is optional. I have no clue what it will do, but most likely it will not work in this notation, because there is no way to specify list of allowed types of attributes, and that's still open issue, and it's still important to understand. So many cases it makes sense to not use object and provide required list or optional or required keys, but replace all of this with just map of any, and that's it. Then you don't need all of this. Map of any can be not enough for you, then you just specify any and do the whole type check and inside of places where you use this variable. So that's also because this type system is not powerful enough, so that's why we need to use any in much more places than we would like to have in let's say strictly typed programming language. Well, so there is not much to run here. As I can say, I can just run this code and it will work because B is now specified, and previously when I ran this code B was not specified because this line was commented. Well, now it says something has to be deleted. Well, yeah, output will have to be deleted. Okay, I don't mind. Output can be deleted, that's okay, but this variable works as expected. What I cannot still specify here is that it can be, let's say, so what I want is that I want this value to be string if it is specified, or anything if it is not specified. So something like this, for example, I would like to write. There is no way to do this still, so if I write this code, it will not work because this is not string, it's list of string. Okay, so that was pretty much it about this release, Terraform 0.14 beta 1. Let me share my screen and go through a couple other interesting things related to this release. So first place which I have on my computer opened, so 21 hours ago there was this release. So I always check this release notes. There is not much else what we can talk about really. If you think there is something missing, please let me know. We can maybe go through that. But in general, it's good. Yeah, and what is actually the future or towards Terraform 1.0? Overall, from HashiConf, we have got pretty clear message that Terraform 1.0 will be released during 2021, and before that there will be well, there probably will be 0.15, but from what I understand, it was not very obvious that there will be 0.15, because maybe 0.14 will be, right, well, there will be 0.15 because what is it, deprecated things will be, yeah, exactly. So I'm glad that there is Victor, who always can jump and can correct me. So yes, there will be 0.15 because this release is necessary to remove stuff which is marked as deprecated, so that we go to 1.0 with completely clean and the best of the best. Okay, so what else I want to mention here is this project. No, this is not really a project, but this is something. So when you are looking into Terraform AWS provider and you have no clue why there are 2.4 open issues and 640 open pull requests, which just makes you feel sad and think that, oh my god, this project is so slow and something is going bad, there are two places where you can go. First, you can go to roadmap.md inside of AWS provider and see actually how the team behind this provider is actually prioritizing things. So here you can see that most likely next services which will get some attention from the team will be Event Bridge, EC2, Image Builder, Lake Formation, Serverless Application Repository, and these kind of issues, because community asked them quite actively. Earlier today I talked to one of my customer, and it was surprising to see that we have AWS transfer service here as well as here. So it is really active, and there is very big demand for this service, and there are a few open issues which is not possible to solve right now using Terraform. But you can always use AWS CLI for that, and it works quite well. Okay, so then you scroll below, you can read some other things. Here is another interesting section which I want to highlight, is research topics. Usually these research topics are written for people to be able to just like discuss potential improvements in Terraform AWS providers. Not necessarily they will be implemented in foreseen future, but it is at least some direction, and it describes some problems which people have, and I highly recommend to pay attention to this as well. So for example, when I read about minimum IAM, pure Terraform resource, it's quite interesting to see amount of discussion which people have and what exactly they discuss. Yeah, really cool. So yeah, check out this roadmap MD. And I think pretty much the last project which I want to mention today, which was also released around HashiConf, or maybe before, or I don't remember, before or during HashiConf at least. Well, this project doesn't have a lot of stars as waypoint or boundary, but it does mean that this project is useless. This project is about syncing console directory with Terraform. That's pretty much it. Documentation is somewhere here, and you can go here and read about this example. Configuration option for console Terraform sync. So yeah, that's pretty much it. You may find this project useful if you want to integrate. Yeah, and the last thing about roadmap is that since it's public, you can go to milestones and then see milestone for the next version, and you can see okay, it's actually 100% complete. That's pretty cool. So you can see maybe there is something planned for 4.0, and you can see the whole roadmap. So it's pretty interesting to see that most of this information isn't public. And well, probably not most, but all Terraform related information isn't public. All Terraform Cloud and Enterprise, I guess, is not public. But overall, it's pretty good to be so transparent. So I think on that note, I want to conclude this live stream. And before I conclude this live stream, I want to mention one more time M0, who was sponsoring this stream, and check them out, self-service cloud environments, and they do this pretty nicely in a way that it's easy to integrate, and they have actually a lot of things as code as well. And yeah, they also released another project which is called TerraTag. Well, this project was released about months ago, I guess, but they are actively developing new features there, and they want us to be able to manage tags also as code. The way how they do this is not exactly how you would do this with your infrastructure as code, because it's a little bit too late. But anyway, I encourage you to check them out and give them a try. Okay, on this one, I want to say thanks a lot, and if you want to continue this discussion, you actually have two ways to do this. One way is that you join right now inside of Zoom, or another way is that you can actually share with your colleagues and with people you work. I think it will be, well, now it's a little bit bad, but still. Okay, you can just share this information with your colleagues, and yeah, and I think I never said there is button to subscribe, leave comment, or whatever else cool blogger says. So thanks everyone, bye bye.